Hey you guys, it's complete. We have a full picture. I worked on this for 12 hours the other day, and I put together everything that we've compiled from all the videos into one flowchart. And in that process, I was able to uncover more synchronicity. It was almost like it took on a life of its own. First off, the song Numata by the Glacial Drift, I believe, is a primer to unlock everything that we've unlocked. And by primer, what I mean is the word Adam Lanza is spelled backwards in that song. And we're going to go into this in more detail. I'm going to cover this entire flowchart for you guys, hopefully within 15 to 20 minutes. And I believe the song was given to us to tell us if we look at things backwards, we will be able to start unlocking some of the keys. But the synchronicity in this flowchart is unbelievable. Okay, so first off, I'm just going to go over some of the additional things that I decoded. First of all, here is the album cover from the Glacial Drift. And I had some help from Janet, thank you Janet, in decoding the Spanish on this. And what it describes, you guys, is a person freezing to death. It describes fingers and limbs breaking off in the cold. Okay? Very cryptic. Now, what else I discovered in this flowchart is that there are exactly 7 years in between the House episode and the X-Files episode. We're going to cover that in this video. But for those of you who have not seen my videos on those episodes, you need to see them. They link directly to Sandy Hook. And there are exactly 7 years between the two, which indicates that this all points back to the 7 hills and the Vatican. Okay? Now, if that, there are other 7 references throughout this tree that I created throughout it. You're just going to see all the references to 7 everywhere. Now, there's also 7 months between Valentine's Day and the Sandy Hook shooting. Exactly 7 months. Okay? This is no accident, you guys. Okay? This is no accident at all. And now, I'm starting to wonder if the Catholic convent had any, or not convent, or whatever it was, the Catholic school in Sandy Hook had anything to do with what happened. Because as we know, the original raid happened at the Catholic school. Okay, now all this Catholic stuff's coming up, which I just followed the rabbit hole on this. And it appears as though maybe something that Catholic school's involved. Okay, you guys? So you guys got to help me find the synchronicities with that. If someone could research the Catholic school and the players over there, we can come to a conclusion and find out if we need to discard that information or move forward with it. But the 7s popped up. When I saw the 7 years between the House episode and the X-Files episode that both relate to Sandy Hook, I was floored. So, here we go. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go rapid fire through this just to make this video not too long. And if you have any questions, there are other videos on this that relate directly to this chart. So just go to my channel, pull up the subject matter, do the search, and pull up whatever it is you need to do to get this information in your brain. This is of apocalyptic importance. So here we go. I Pet Goat 2. This is the center of the tree by Hierophant. French artist Louis Lefebvre. Released June 25th, 2012. Now what you're going to notice in this tree, everywhere you see bolded items, those are places, those are synchronicities, okay? And they go across all throughout the tree. And you'll see them. You'll learn to go, okay, there's another 7. There's another February 14th. There's another December 14th. That's what we're looking for here. So I bolded them so that you could see the connections. And that's how I found the additional connections as well. Okay, we're going to start at the top here on the left. The children's book I Pet Goat was read by George Bush as the towers were hit on the plains of 9/11. That obviously was the catalyst for the French artist Louis Lefebvre creating the I Pet Goat series of cartoons. Okay? Now, we're going to look at heliotrope. This is covered in one of my videos. It's a purple color with a red RGB value of 223. Backwards is 322. Now, in literary history, it was used in some topics here that I mentioned. James Joyce, Finnegan's Wake. There was a riddle in the game of colors, or angels and devils, played by the children. The word heliotrope is disguised a number of times, hidden either in anagrams, riddles, puns, or obscure allusions. It was also in P.G. Wodehouse's Thank You Jeeves. Okay, heliotrope pajamas. It was in Sarah McCloskey's Parties and Potions. The Samortas wore a gown that is heliotrope in color, has magical properties that enhance natural beauty. It's also in the 7th Harry Potter book. Heliotrope is used to describe Mafalda Hopkirk's Polyjuice potion. Heliotrope is obviously all throughout I Pet Goat 2 as well. And it's the color of Obama's tassel in I Pet Goat 2. Now we're going to move down to Louis Lefebvre. Louis Lefebvre was also, in addition to the author of I Pet Goat 2, the first French bishop of Boston on 11/1/1810. Add a 1 to the 8 and you have 91111 inside the date. This is also one day after Halloween on All Saints' Day, also referred to as the Hallows. The Hallows is All Saints' Day. He was the second bishop of the New World. He was the first bishop of Boston in the 13 colonies. He supported the establishment in 1816 of the Provident Institution for Savings in the town of Boston, the first chartered savings bank in the U.S. The bank represents slavery, you guys. Lincoln fought against it, several other people throughout history. JFK fought against banking. Anyone that tries to approach the gold standard or who wants to replace currency with gold and get out of the banking system is either assassinated or they've been gone to war with. Okay? You guys need to understand there's videos on that. Now, so what this indicates is that, back to Louis Lefebvre, that he originated our modern banking system. Okay? This is huge. He died at age 68. It's another number that you're going to see pop up. It's on Obama's coin in I Pet Goat 2 at low resolution. And there's also an 89 if you reverse that, and that's many of the Catholic radio stations. Okay? And at high resolutions, that coin under Obama's foot is the Catholic crown. And he was preceded only, Louis Lefebvre was only preceded by the first Bishop of America, John Carroll, in Baltimore, who took his seat at the Church of St. Peter, okay, the first Catholic saint in the history of the church. They attribute St. Peter to their authority to rule over Christianity. He was succeeded by Bishop Benedict, the same name as the Pope who resigned close to Valentine's Day, 2000, actually that's 2013, I just saw a mistake here. The Pope Benedict resigned, and the Bishop Benedict succeeded Louis Lefebvre. Okay? Now, we're hopping into new subject matter. Wikipedia. Okay, for the date, June 25th. I just did a Wikipedia search, June 25th. The first event for this date is the beheading of a pope, Cornelius. He's the only pope mentioned in the list of events. The last entry is the last beam lifted in place for the World Trade Center 4 in 2012. Okay? The exact day and year of the release of I Pet Goat 2, which is on June 25th. All right? Now we're going to hop to the, actually we'll follow this tree out for the June 25th date, okay? Follow me on this. June 25th is also the release date of the movie Blade Runner in 1982. Exactly 30 years to the day before the release of I Pet Goat 2 in 2012. 30 years exactly. Now, we're going to look at Blade Runner synchronicity here between the Blade Runner movie and the Blade Runner real-life amputee who murdered his girlfriend on Valentine's Day, 2013. All right? We're going to first look at reality, and then we're going to look at the movie. Reality. Oscar is a self-proclaimed Blade Runner. In the movie, it's called Blade Runner, obviously. In reality, Oscar has a shaved head. In the movie, Roy has a shaved head, played by Rutger Hauer. Number 3, Oscar Pistorius. His father may be Roy Pistorius. You can do a YouTube search on Roy Pistorius, and he has Oscar Pistorius is one of his favorite athletes. Maybe his father, I don't know. But in the movie, Roy Beatty is the boyfriend of Pris, who is murdered in the film. It's another Roy. Okay? Now, what I don't have in my tree is that the lyrics in one of the songs for Glacial Drift has Roy in the lyrics. All right? It's Roy G. Biv, which is the colors of the colors of the what is it called? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Rainbow. The colors of the rainbow. It's an acronym. Roy G. Biv is the acronym for all the colors in the rainbow. Red, orange, yellow, blue, green, so on and so forth. Okay? Okay, back to Blade Runner. I know this hops around. That's why I put it in a tree for you guys. And this tree is available as a PDF file. Download. I'll put the link in the description so you can look at it yourself if this is going too quick for you. Okay, back to reality. Oscar is an Olympic athlete. In the movie, Roy Batty, his name is pronounced Batty. He is fast and skilled at combat with an aphysical level, superhuman strength and endurance. He is probably the most dangerous of all the fugitive replicants, straight from Wikipedia. Okay, back to reality. He reported he had emotional problems, and the police were called several times for domestic violence. And in the movie, he's still learning to deal with the developing emotions. Reality. Oscar murdered his girlfriend on Valentine's Day. In the movie, Pris, the girlfriend, who is a model, was incepted on Valentine's Day and murdered as well. Now, reality, his girlfriend was murdered because he thought she was an intruder. Well, in the movie, Pris is murdered because she sets a trap in a building where she disguises herself as a mannequin to ambush Decker, but she is killed. Okay? Now, in the reality, she's a model, and in the movie, she's described as a basic pleasure model. Okay? Reality, murdered woman is blonde. In the movie, the murdered woman was played by a blonde Daryl Hannah, and I have pictures comparing the two in one of my videos. Reality, a bloody cricket bat was found and admitted as evidence by the police. And in the movie, Roy Batty, pronounced Batty, and if don't believe me, go see the movie, it says Batty, was the boyfriend of the model who was murdered in the movie. There's your synchronicity with Blade Runner. Now, this is chilling. There's also a novel named Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? This was what the movie Blade Runner was based off of. It was released in 1968. There's our 68 again. And there is a Rosen Industries in the novel. Unbelievable. And it's like Gene Rosen. It's a company in Seattle. Okay, we all know that Peter Parker lived in Seattle. That makes androids. Okay? Rachel Rosen in the novel is a lady that works there. She tries to bribe the main character, Harrison Ford as Decker, with an owl. As in the future, real animals in this novel are a commodity because there's nuclear fallout. And so if you have a real animal, you are seen in a higher you're in a higher level of society if you have a real animal versus people who have android animals, okay? Now, Decker is tracking 6 Nexus 6 androids. 666, okay? You can't make this stuff up. When you spell Nexus backwards, it says suck. It says sucks, but it could be 6, so that's 666. And then in the end of the novel, you guys, Rachel ends up killing Decker's pet goat. All right, I'm sorry if I'm yelling here, but some of my videos, the volume wasn't high enough. Now we're going to hop back up to heliotrope. I missed this part. I should have covered this when I was covering the color heliotrope. But put on your heliotrope hat and come back over to the left side of this with me. Super Bowl 2013. Heliotrope was used extensively throughout Super Bowl 2013 color scheme for the event and almost all the commercials. The lights of the Super Bowl went out at 1322 on the scoreboard. The 322 is there. It's the number of Skull and Bones, of which George Bush is a senior member. The lights stayed off for 33 minutes. This is the highest degree of masonry of which George Bush is also a member. The lights came back on at 9:11 Eastern Standard Time. Okay? It's no accident. I've got a video on that too. This is another chilling side note. Hit the Lights. The color heliotrope was also used extensively in the video Hit the Lights by Jay Sean featuring Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne talks about the end being near and Cupid. He mentioned this in his little rap. Valentine's Day. On the chalkboard in iPad Go 2, the hangman is missing in some letters. Yet the L, the T, and the N are capitalized. So a Google search for Lucian, which fills in all the blanks, reveals Lucian Media. It's the very first search result that comes up on Google, you guys. I didn't go searching for this stuff. It just came to me. This is where I found Lil Wayne and Jay Sean. There are 3 arrays of studio lights in the video side by side, similar to those seen at the Super Bowl. Each array measures 6 lights across. 666. This video was released long before the Super Bowl. How did Jay Sean and Lil Wayne know the lights were going to go out at the Super Bowl? Okay, how did they know? I'd like to know. All right, we are done with the left side of the tree. We're halfway through this, you guys. Thanks for bearing with me. Actually, let's see here. Hold on. We still have to cover the music group, the Glacial Drift. We talked a little bit about this in the opening of this video. Okay, it's a probable reference to iPad Go 2, the Ice Scape. So, okay, in iPad Go 2, Glacial Drift, Ice Scape. The song Help Oz and Numata. We talked about that being probably a primer. Also, Renaud's heliotrope grasp. Okay, Renaud's is a syndrome that people get where they turn purple. Okay, remember the fat guy kissing the model in the Super Bowl commercial? He was purple, wasn't he? He had Renaud's syndrome. Okay, heliotrope is the color. Now, there are some references on the album cover. Life is a Dream, Going Down the Void, Saturn, and San Francisco de Quito are all in that graphic that they use on their album cover that's circular. San Francisco de Quito is a hotel located exactly on the equator in the highest elevation capital of the world, Quito. Be a perfect place to survive an ice age. And we're going to get into that on the right side of the tree. And here we go. Sandy Hook connections to iPad Go 2. There's a push pin on the map in Connecticut, which is to the left of Bush, precisely where Sandy Hook is located. A line drawn through Sandy Hook connects the Temple of Teotihuacan, Stonehenge, the Wizard's Hat. I want you to do your research on there. There's a video out there on YouTube. It goes through the Wizard's Hat. And Louisiana. Louis Lefebvre. There are wizards' symbols in the movie Signs. And in one scene above Mel Gibson's head, a sign with the name Newtown Jewelers is seen. Okay? Date of the massacre, December 14th. Valentine's Day, February 14th. Exactly 7 months apart. Of course, we have Gene Rosen. There are snowflakes on the wall left of Bush, signify paper snowflakes given to the survivors of Sandy Hook. And when you backmask George Bush's gibberish, it says Sandy Hook. I have a video on that. Lily is the artist name for the blonde girl in iPad Go 2. That's what Louis Lefebvre names the little girl. He calls her Lily. When you scramble those letters, it almost spells Emily, like Emily Parker, murdered at Sandy Hook. Lily sits before 12 figures. Now, this is what I'm about to tell you here is new information, you guys. It's been adjusted a bit from previous videos, but I think I've deciphered it. Lily sits before 12 figures in I Pet Goat 2, symbolizing the 12th month of the Sandy Hook Massacre and the 12 people killed at the Aurora, Colorado shooting. The exit door behind her is ajar, just like at the Aurora Theater, and it's blood red. Now, when you look at that exit door in the I Pet Goat 2, it looks like you're looking at a movie lighting. When they turn it down, they put a little red light over the exit door, don't they? Okay? This is all encoded and encrypted, you guys. This is probably blowing you away at this point, but I haven't even got to the meat of it. It gets worse. An Easter rabbit is behind her in the I Pet Goat 2. It's highlighted in the dark, and I believe that symbolizes Easter as the final end of the Vatican. The school in I Pet Goat 2 is Sandy Hook Elementary. I have a video on that with the shooter entrance and the first grade classroom illuminated by like a porch light. You can see it. It's clearly there. And I show a floor plan of a map of the actual Sandy Hook school, and then I compare that to the I Pet Goat video, and it's conclusive. Now we're going to hop to the Vatican. This is where it gets very deep. Valentine Campa is the man represented in the yellow pond in I Pet Goat 2. The man in the pond has a heart-shaped tattoo that says Juanita, and he's holding a hammer and a sickle. Well, Valentine Campa was the last communist Mexican revolutionary before it fell in 1968. There's the 68 again. Valentine was born on Valentine's Day. Lily in the movie, in the cartoon I Pet Goat 2, rolls the apple over an anti-sigma C, which is a reverse C. The only reference in the entire internet regarding a backward C is to a Roman emperor, Claudius, a Wikipedia edit, who attempted to inject the letter into the Latin alphabet. The letter was meant to replace BS and PS in the Latin language. Claudius was the first emperor born outside of Italy and not elected by the Senate. He was the first emperor in power after Jesus' crucifixion, symbolizing the actual beginning of the Catholic Church. The Vatican names the apostle, St. Peter, as their right to rule the church. I think I mentioned that previously in here. You guys, Claudius had Asperger's syndrome, as did Adam Lanza. It's right there in Wikipedia. The number 7 next to the C on the floor represents the Vatican as well. There are 7 joints in the dragon under the chalkboard, and Rome is known as the City of Seven Hills. And since the Lateran Treaty of 1929, there have been 7 kings or popes. So then heaven opens up in I Pet Goat 2, revealing the phallus with a small heart on the front of it. This is the exposure of the sex abuse on Valentine's Day. I think that's what's being represented there. The old woman is now held in confinement by the heart of Valentine. It's on the outside of the cell she's in. And the light exposes her sins. An altar boy is dressed in Catholic garb, and he's resurrected and vindicated after the church is exposed. Now we're going to hop to owls. I have a video on owls. An owl in I Pet Goat 2 is on the wall in the upper left corner above the map. An aerial view of Washington, D.C. also reveals a large owl. And then on Kesha's album cover, it looks like an owl from far away. And when you backmask her song, Die Young, it says Sandy Hook. And they actually released a remix of it 1 month before the massacre on November 14th. And Kesha admits in a tweet that she was forced to sing the lyrics to the song. The video is full of Illuminati symbolism. And the cover, Kesha is mirrored on the album cover, and she's wearing a crown of flowers, similar to a cherub, like on Valentine's Day. And then also Anderson Cooper holds up a child's drawing of an owl on the steps of Washington, D.C. And we know that Washington, D.C. looks like an owl. And it's as a memorial to the lost children of Sandy Hook. Okay, we're going to cover Obama now. There's a coin under Obama's foot in I Pet Goat 2. And it says 68 or 89 at low resolution. Okay? There's the numbers again. At high resolution, it's a Catholic crown, complete with a cross on top of it, signifying Obama's ending the Catholic Church because the coin is under his foot, right? Okay, when Obama appears to be chuckling in the cartoon, he is really shivering and coughing. When he lunges forward, his tassel points to the negative F or negative Fahrenheit, and he is perfectly positioned between it and the snowflakes. Paired with the music group, the Glacial Drift, which we covered, and the iPet Goat 2 snowscape, I believe an ice age is coming very soon. In the very last frame before Bush turns into Obama and his skin starts to darken, he wipes away a tear, just like after the Sandy Hook massacre when he did the press conference. It's the same exact pose. And then in the iPet Go 2, he's laughing sarcastically. And this pairs well with Obama's apparent insincerity as he wipes away the fake tear at the press conference. A big deal was made about that. Okay, we got a couple more to go and we're done, you guys. This is a very important section, so I need you to focus. TV programming. There was an X-Files episode, I mentioned this in the beginning of this video, called Emily. It was episode 7. Emily was originally aired on December 14th, 1997. And again, on the same date in 2012, the day of the Sandy Hook shooting, exactly 15 years later. The episode opens with Scully finding a gold cross at the Vatican. Emily is in the hospital, and she has a surrogate mother named Fugazi, which is slang for fake. Fugazi is fake. The real-life Emily's mother, her name is Alyssa. And there have been questions as to whether or not that's her real mother. Okay, there are no records of how Emily came into the world in the X-Files episode. She is put into a hyperbaric chamber to recover, but she dies regardless. They find sandbags in her coffin. And then in the real life at Sandy Hook, none of the parents were able to see their children. Okay? Sandbags in the coffin, no children. The actor who played the little girl had to be replaced because she was so afraid of where the hospital was, where they were filming this in a hospital. Now there's also a house episode, you guys, called Damned If You Do. It features nuns, as with Sandy Hook. There's a purple van with nuns in Sandy Hook that they were following. It aired also on December 14th, the same date as the Sandy Hook massacre. A nun gets stigmata, or so her sisters think, and House has to figure out what's really wrong with her. They put her in a hyperbaric chamber, just like in the Emily episode of the X-Files, but she gets worse, just like the Emily episode of the X-Files. Now, these shows were separated by exactly 7 years to the day. There's your 7 reference again. House, X-Files, 2 completely different shows, completely different eras, separated exactly by 7 years. Now, back to the House episode. The nun is put into a CT scan. CT is Connecticut, where the Sandy Hook occurred. They end up finding a copper cross, the Vatican again, in her uterus. And this is normally not called a cross. It's called a T. I used to sell against the copper T. Now, remember, back in the X-Files episode, Scully finds a cross too. Okay, Valentine's Day. All throughout iPet Goat 2. And within 1 week of Valentine's Day, 2013, large meteors fell in Russia, Japan, San Francisco, and at least 3 other largely populated cities. This is no coincidence. Meteors don't fall over populated cities very often. They fall over uninhabited areas because they're, as you know, 80-90% of the earth is uninhabited. So the odds of a meteor falling over an uninhabited area are much greater than a populated area. Now, Wikipedia. This is the real Valentine story. This is St. Valentine, you guys. This is chilling. In the 5th or 6th century, a work called Paseo Marle et Martal published an invented story of martyrdom for St. Valentine of Rome. It states that St. Valentine was persecuted as a Christian and interrogated by the Roman Emperor Claudius, leading back to the Anti-Sigma C from My Pet Goat 2. Okay? Claudius was impressed by Valentine and had a discussion with him, attempting to get him to convert to Roman paganism in order to save his life. Valentine refused and tried to convert Claudius to Christianity instead. Because of this, he was executed. Before his execution, he is reported to have performed a miracle by healing Julia, the blind daughter of the jailer Asterius. In addition to this, St. Valentine is said to have performed clandestine Christian weddings for soldiers who were forbidden to marry. The Roman Emperor Claudius supposedly forbade this in order to grow his army, believing that married men did not make for good soldiers. According to the legend, in order to remind them of God's love and to encourage them to remain faithful Christians, St. Valentine is said to have cut hearts from parchment, giving them to soldiers and persecuted Christians, the possible origin of the widespread use of hearts on St. Valentine's Day. A little bit different perspective of Valentine's Day, isn't it? Signifying the end of the Catholic Church and I Pet Goat 2. Okay? It's completely appropriate in this context. This is the last piece, you guys. Thanks for bearing with me. The announcement of the end of the Catholic Church on Valentine's Day 2012. Several articles were released announcing the indictment of the Church for crimes against humanity, including torture and rape. The wealth would be confiscated and its clergy jailed by Easter. Okay? There are several Easter eggs within I Pet Goat 2. Thank you for listening, you guys. I encourage you to pull up this PDF and research this on your own. And I need all the help I can get with this. Take care.